Hi friends, this is the Be Real Babe podcast, a place where your average Canadian wolfpack come together to talk about life stresses, messes, and successes. A safe space where being yourself is the ultimate goal. Each week we will bring you new episodes sharing our opinions on a ton of different topics in hopes we can get a better understanding of ourselves, each other, and this crazy world we live in. We want to build a community where we can show up as ourselves, be real, and lay it all out there. By sharing our opinions and experiences, we hope to reach others who can relate so we can all help each other learn, grow, and heal. But please keep in mind, as a disclaimer, none of us here are professionals, no one is giving any advice. We are strictly speaking of our life experiences, our opinions, and for entertainment purposes only. Now, with that being said, it's time. So grab your drink, grab your joint, and let's jump right in. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Be Real Babe podcast. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for stopping by the show today. We hope that you have a good time. And if you're a returning listener, watcher, supporter, we just want to thank you so much for coming back time and time again. For those that don't know me, my name is Brandy, and I'm the host of the show. And today, you guys are on episode 156, Being Real About Podcasting. You guys, I'm so excited. We're going to take a break from all of our crazy stuff and talk about the show, talk about podcasting. How did we come to be? We have so many new listeners and new visitors all the time, and we're just so grateful that you're here. We thought this was a perfect opportunity to chat about podcasting. If you were interested in becoming a podcaster, what does it take? Some of the wins, some of the losses, how did this podcast come to be? How we got to where we are now? Those kind of things. You know, just having an honest to goodness conversation. A lot of belly laughs in this one, reviewing what it's been like over the last 6 seasons now and going on our almost 3 years of doing this wild show. So just want to thank you guys again always for the support and being here and listening. And please always, if you do enjoy the show, make sure you're sharing it with friends and family. Of course, unless you think they'll disown you from our opinions, and don't send them to them. I understand that completely. But if you know that if people are aligned with the episode, or maybe that they're not, maybe you want to trigger some thought in them, you know, send them our way. We would love for them to come and listen. And before we get on to this really awesome episode, I just want to remind you, if you are listening or watching rather on the YouTube and Rumble sites, if you can find us there, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications. If you can, comment for engagement, helps us break out of that algorithm. Oh, English is not my friend today, you guys. And then if you are listening on the audio platforms as well, Spotify and Apple, you can like, subscribe, and you can leave reviews there as well. And then if you are on social media, you can find us at the Be Real Babe podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest. So that is it. Make sure you go follow us everywhere if you have a second. Like, review, subscribe in all those places so you can always find out when we drop our next episode, which is every Friday. All right, babes, let's get into it. All right, babes, it's time to get on to the show. And with me today in studio is my beautiful co-host, Hales. Hey, babe.
Hey, how's it going? Oh my god, my cats.
Who was that?
It's Lola pestering. Lola has a lot bigger balls than Shorty ever did, and she has, because Shorty doesn't really play with her much because she's old and crotchety. She likes to bug the cats for entertainment. So her and Kitty have this like very fun little sibling rivalry going on. If I could turn the computer, I would, because Kitty just jumped up here to hide because Lola, she's
too
relentless, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, how old is she now?
Like 3-4 months only. She's still little.
Oh, Bean.
Hi, boo boo.
Oh, Coffee Bean. She's so cute.
I know,
She's still being good and everything?
Yeah, she's pretty good. She's still like figuring out the peeing and pooping outside, but we'll get there. It's winter too, which is even worse. So
oh yeah,
we're in for some long months here. I'm feeling, but that's all right.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know how it was over there, but it's like winter is coming now, and it's hit like really quickly.
We were thrown face first into winter Monday.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. Did it snow up there?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, we've got a few inches and it hasn't melted. But on Halloween, so on Tuesday, it's supposed to jump up to like 7 degrees.
Yay, good. So, okay, good. I always feel like if it can just wait until after Halloween, like that would be nice. Just let the kids have a Halloween.
She's gone upstairs. Fuck. Well, I guess when Nick gets home, he can
upstairs
clean up all the messes. Yeah.
It's supposed to be a fun episode. We're talking, babes, for being here. It feels like forever. How long has this been? Like a week?
like
It's
not
not
like
been that long.
yeah, not even that
A
long.
couple days maybe.
Fuck.
It's so funny, but it feels like we'll talk about it too, like in the last season how it was just like so insane, but now it almost feels like I feel like I'm missing something,
I
like,
know.
well, today. And we'll talk about my blips over the last little bit of podcasting, but that's what we want to talk about this episode. There's a lot of new people coming to the show, and I think it's a good time to kind of go through our seasons and like how we came to be. How did Haley
Hmm.
become on the show? Like where the other hosts, how'd they get onto the show? What did we talk about? Yeah, and I thought that would be a good time to just talk about the wins and losses of what it's like to run a podcast, because I don't think people fully know
I
what
don't
goes
think people,
into it.
yeah, I don't think people really understand the time that goes into it, especially when it's just on your own. You don't have like a team, or like we have a team, it's whatever, but you know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like a professional, like Joe Rogan style
paid.
team or like paid
Yeah,
team, like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
So yeah, it's
yeah. For the
definitely,
most part, yeah, those people just show up, right? And which is great. Like that's awesome. They got themselves to that famous level where
hmm
they can just show up and say what they have to say or guest or just do that. And then they have a whole production team, they have a marketing team, they have
I feel like
promo teams.
podcasts are really popular now, and I've seen quite a few people that I
Mm,
follow, be it influencers or whatever you want to call them, that have all started their own podcasts. So it's
yeah,
definitely like a new
agreed.
hot thing, which is totally fair. But I feel like it's also one of the ones that like they don't last long if you're not dedicated or committed
Hmm.
to it, like
Hmm.
Brandy is here. But it's just it's I don't think people really realize the work that goes into it before they start. And yeah, I feel like it's probably one of the quicker dropped mediums out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, definitely. And I think too, it's because I mean, if you're famous already and you already have a following, then
Then
obviously
you're
you're going to
good.
get a lot of
Yeah.
listens, right? Then you're good. You're fine. You're going to have your listens. But if
Hmm.
you don't and you're grassroots and you're starting from the bottom and you're especially like
Right.
starting in the most controversial time and talking about the most controversial and banned topics, like
Yeah.
there's like an expectation that I had to manage for myself personally with that, because I was like, what the fuck do you expect? Like, this is everything that the powers that control what be is to see don't want to be seen, just by these fucking AI bots even that just run through your like, YouTube video and then flag whatever they don't like.
Well,
And
I
it just
think
it's
that,
wild.
like you said, like because specifically ours, I'll say, or you, well, I'll say
Mhm.
ours. It is our podcast, I
Ours.
suppose.
100% ours.
But
Yes.
specifically because we decided to, yeah, push the envelope and discuss things that aren't overly popular, and especially with our new censorship bullshit going on in Canada, like building a following. If we were to have started now, I think we'd be fucked because of the censorship. Like
Yes.
trying to find,
100%.
trying to build and find like-minded people
That community.
right now would be hard. But
Oh,
bless you for starting this early and me joining in. But like you said, like if you don't already have a following, building that, especially in Canada right now, would be a nightmare. The
yeah.
fact that we talk about things that aren't overly popular and are now censored and banned in Canada is another thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we were to have some like tutti frutti, like easy peasy, like
Sex
podcast,
talk.
it might be that, or like makeup or something like super mainstream.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
might be a little bit
Yeah.
different, but where the fuck is the fun in that is all I gotta say. Like
No. And it's like it's easy and
the
it's
crazy part
done
is I've seen
already.
a bunch of like I went on YouTube today and I was watching one of those Jubilee middle
Oh gosh.
grounds, and
Was it the one with Blair White?
yes it was. I watched the full thing
Ah,
today.
that was so
Such a good
insane.
one. But
Such a
even
good one.
like a lot of the influencers I find who are on YouTube, which
Mhm.
technically you could consider that like podcast adjacent because it is still like
Yeah.
someone talking to an audience. I find a lot of
Yeah.
them now, like I saw someone that I don't go on YouTube a whole lot, but when I did back in the day, I followed a lot of makeup
Hmm.
like people accounts and stuff, and there's a
Hmm.
few that kind of branched out to different things. But even a lot of them, like I saw one of the girls today, the main video that popped up was she was talking about LMM or LM. Oh my god, MLM
MLM.
cult and stuff, and it
Yes.
was just very like
Ah.
we're not alone in the sense that like we're talking about things that are on people's minds, but I also
Mhm.
find it funny that like like when you and I come up with topics, or when you come up with topics, when we're doing that, it's stuff that interests us, it's stuff that's hot topic, but I feel like a lot of people are bandwagoning hard right now. So like I said,
Oh yeah.
it's something that people will start and not realize the work, but it's also something that people want to
Hmm.
start because I mean, there are a ton of podcasts, YouTube channels, like it is a huge thing, and people want to be famous and make money
Yeah.
that way and
Yes.
the whole nine.
Wouldn't it
And
just be
that's
easy?
one of the
Yeah.
things that B can touch on and can talk about, is that making money doing this is a chore. It is not,
It is a
you do
chore.
not make money with it, I would say, unless you're dedicated, have a huge following, or already an influencer, like have that whole base. You're not making money for the first long time,
Couple
I
years
would
at
say.
least. Yeah, I
Unless you
wouldn't
can
even.
secure yourself like
Yeah,
legit
a
sponsors
sponsor.
and
Yeah,
like things like that, it's hard going. Hard
it's
going.
very
Like
hard
one of
going.
my favorite
Yeah.
podcasts um is The Basement Yard with Joe
Hmm.
Santagato and Frankie Alvarez, I believe his name is. Those two guys
Yep,
make
yep.
me laugh so hard. But I
They're
started
funny.
watching
Yeah.
them I started watching Joe like when he had YouTube and was not doing a
Yep.
podcast, and then they got the podcast and they do sponsors here and there, but like having a team to reach out and having to like, yeah, like you have to have that base following for them to even consider sponsoring
Hmm.
you, because who the
A
hell is
hundred
going to
percent.
be like listening to your stuff and
Listening.
buying, like
Yeah.
if they're not going to make
Yeah.
money, they're
How
not
you
going to
helping?
sponsor you, you know what I mean? So there's a lot that
Hmm.
goes into it that you just really like, you think is easy peasy, but it is sure as hell not. Sorry.
And that's one thing that, no, that's okay. So that for me, it was like one of those things because we've talked about this a lot of people just always wanting to make money right away. And
Hmm.
I get it because shit is so fucking expensive right now. And, everyone wants to
Well, and
do
they think it's
things
going to
and
be an
have their
easy way
goals.
out to make money and stay home and
Yeah.
do
And
it,
it's
right?
like, yeah, so you're just thinking like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna jump on and record it. And hey, for some fucking people,
It is.
sure,
Yeah.
it is that easy, and that's awesome. Like, good for them. But for me, it's like I wanted to do content that mattered to me, and that was gonna help. And like,
Yeah.
I've always been a believer of energy exchange, so I don't always necessarily believe that everything that is rich in life is given just by cash and by
No.
money. It's energy exchange. So does this podcast wear me the fuck out sometimes and I'm pissed we don't make money? Yeah, of course. But in the same sense, if we get a sponsor, what if I post something that this sponsor doesn't like and then said sponsor is going to reach out and tell me not to talk about that? I don't want that. I don't want anybody to tell
It's
me
the tethers
what
and
I can
like
and cannot say.
the
Yes.
limits and like the
Yeah.
box that they try and put you into, because that is a lot of the times like you're pretty limited on what you can say because you are then linked to them and they don't want
Yeah.
to be linked to that, you
Mm-mm.
know. But
No,
yeah.
no. And I want to do shout outs like you'll be seeing a couple episodes coming up is like different shout outs to businesses that we have no affiliation with,
Hmm.
just ones that we like because community is
Because we like
important.
them.
And I think that's a great idea because we like them. But I also feel people sell out all the time because it's like, do you even use those products? And like going back to like
Yeah.
the MLM thing,
That's kind of
that's
like,
where I struggle with these things too, right? Like I wouldn't want to just seem like I'm a sellout that,
well, that's like
I'm
the
not saying
celebrity
that it is
thing,
a sellout,
right? Like we've talked about that
right? And
tons. Like they promote shit that do they
yeah,
even use? No, they fucking don't.
yeah, no. And like if it was legitimately a company that I use, like of something that I do absolutely love, like
Hmm.
of course, like there could be a conversation. But for me, I'd rather be like, oh, I'll just mention it and not have like when there's a financial tie to it, there's a whole other level of
Yeah.
expectation there, right? And I'll even replay that like or push that to my photography. When I do photography for free, whenever I'm doing like creatives, like there's that pressure of like producing because that artist is also with you modeling and all that. But at the
Yeah.
same time, it's not like people are losing out money when you're bending and paid a couple grand for a wedding.
Hmm.
The pressure for that is a lot different, right? So it's like when you have that removal of it's for your finances, it puts a different perspective on it. And it like I don't know how to if that makes sense, but it's like
Hmm.
I don't
No, it does.
if someone doesn't like the show, I'm like, well, like I'm not getting paid for it and you're
Yeah.
not paying for it really. Like so
So
what do you have to be mad about?
how exactly did you like, what was the, how did this brain, like the brainchild, how did this come up, how did?
How did this call come about? So, me and Kayla, obviously co-host OG number one, actually got introduced by a mutual friend because she said this was at like the height of COVID. So this would have been
Like
um,
2020?
not the height of COVID, but 2020. Yeah. So it was like we just hit our 3 years being friends. So it was like September 2020. Um, a mutual friend was like, I really think you two would get along because you share a lot of the same things. And we were
That's cute.
both like going through our spiritual awakening at the same time. So it was like every conspiracy on planet Earth we were sharing on top of like spiritual stuff. So I was like, obviously I love this person immediately. And then, we like really started talking. And then I don't know, I just was feeling very disconnected to everybody at that point in the world. Everything felt so confusing, and I felt like I just needed an avenue. And I used to do obviously photography, and I wasn't doing that anymore. And so I
Yeah.
just like there was no outlet. Like energy exchange to me is like my creative outlets, and there wasn't one. I couldn't. I felt stagnant,
Yeah.
and I just pitched to all four girls. Like we just all like really all enjoyed talking, and it was just like, why don't we just do a podcast? Like, what I don't honestly even couldn't tell you where it came from. I just was like, I want to try it. Like, it seems like a fun thing to do. Like, and this is before video, so I was like, I don't want to be a YouTuber.
Yeah.
I don't want to be a content creator. I just, I don't know. I've always had a thing
I
for
want my
journalism,
opinions
and
out there, and
yeah, I just want to talk and like help. And like everyone's always said they love my energy and that they wish that I would put it out there. And so I was
good.
like, how do I distribute that in a way, like, and people like not to be that way, but like whatever, I'll be that way. Is like people usually come to talk to me, whether that's for advice or just to listen. And so it's like, well, how can I do that on a show and maybe ripple out to more people, right? Like
Yeah.
just how you and Joelle talked about that ripple effect. That's my favorite part of the show because I won't know what I'm doing, and then all of a sudden someone will message me and be like, dude, great episode, or like that really hit or something. And I'm like,
I feel like we're just very much, we're not always aware of how relatable our situations are. Like,
mhm,
everyone goes through their own journey, which is 100% true, but we also mirror each other a lot. Like, difficulties, like parenting
yeah,
difficulties, job difficulties, life difficulties, living in Canada difficulties, winter difficulties.
just
Like,
being
we all
Canadian. Yeah,
have our own experience through it, but there's a lot that are very much like, yeah,
commonality
similar.
in it for
Yeah,
sure.
and
Yeah.
relatable, right? So it is nice. And especially like for things like that, so you don't feel crazy. You don't feel like you're like an absolute insano that like, fuck, I'm alone, like I like this is just
Yeah.
driving me nuts, and I feel like no one else quite gets it. And then that's how I found you guys about the episode 54. I was like,
Yeah.
holy fuck,
Our
like,
biggest one.
thank
I'm
God
not
people are
alone.
fucking saying this, because like everyone was
Yeah.
so scared to start speaking out at that point, and I was just like getting so annoyed.
Yeah.
Nick and I were like at our wits end with everything, and it was just so, oh, it was just so nice to hear other people voicing what Nick and I had going through our heads, you know? So yeah, and then I
Massive
reached
validation.
out and I was like, oh my God, I love you guys.
It was so
You guys are
amazing.
the
And like, guys, we
greatest.
say
I
that.
should see, actually,
And please let us know.
as you talk, I'm going to try and find
Yes.
our first message. Let's see if I can do
Yes, please.
this.
That would be great. Yes. So yeah, so then I asked all four girls, and Kayla was really the only one that bit. The other two, just lifetime wasn't, it's a lot of work. And I am glad
Hmm.
that they recognized that right off the bat and was like, hey, I don't think I'm going to be able to commit. And I was like, no, that's totally fine. And Kayla was just, she had gotten a bad car accident. So she was actually going back to school,
Yeah.
and she was very, her job before that was demoing. So she was like very used to like physical go, go, go job to like, you can't fucking move. And like she got like a
Got so much
concussion.
time
So
on
she
your
had like,
hands, and
yeah, and she was kind of like not sick from concussion, but we go back to past episodes. You hear her talking about just like the brain fog that she went through and all that. But she was at home going to school, so she had time to sit with me and do that, and it was really cool. We just started talking, and we kind of made a plan for like, okay, in the spring, maybe that was what we're kind of aiming for. Like I'm not a person that anymore, anymore that can just like um go and just like I'll start something, but I'm not gonna like release it. Like I'm gonna take my time to be like, okay, let's plan this out. Let's make this make sense, because life is so insane that if you
yeah,
don't have some form of planning,
yeah,
haha, inventory planner, you will get fucked. Like
it's
it's my
just in
job
your
every day as a
DNA.
planner. It's a motherfucking DNA. Also, I want to put on. I'm wearing like a full white like sweatsuit right now. Like I'm wearing a white sweater
Oh,
and
I
like
had to
a
put my hoodie on
light
because I'm wearing
gray.
like this like
Yeah,
crop top with
I
no
just want to
bra,
point
and
it
it was
out.
just like total mom boob moment. I was like, oh, that is not going on the air.
I actually had a
I need a
toque on, and
hoodie.
I was like, Kate, you
So
cannot
bad.
wear a toque every single fucking episode
Yes,
now for
you
the
can.
next
Hell
four
yeah, you
months.
can.
So we're Canadian. I guess we can. It's our fucking birthright. But yeah, so we neither of us knew a fucking thing. Like didn't know shit about fuck, like at all. But I'm not a person that needs to. It's just like I just
That's
needed one person, man. One person that was gonna stand behind what I like
okay.
what I wanted to say. Yes, yay. What is it?
February 3rd, 2022. Wow, it's wild what those videos hold. My aunt has been on this stuff since I was young, and I grew up always being told, "That's crazy, Auntie Camilla." Yeah, not that crazy, and I never thought she was. This stuff is literally everything she's ever told me. And then it is crazy. Like, I have no idea what's real, but it blew my mind. It made me start asking questions, and now here I am, full closet tin hat. And it's just started from there. And yeah, I remember when you guys asked me to come on, and I could have like shit my pants. But yeah, February
I remember
3rd,
that too.
2022. So believe it or not,
It's
we
almost
have
been
only,
two
it's,
years.
yeah, I
Yes.
was gonna say it's crazy to think that it's only just been not even 2 years, because like, I don't
How
know.
the deep the connection is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean,
But I think that's what it
when did you,
is.
so this, like, the podcast is only, what you said, 3 years old?
Yeah, 2.5
And
right now. So March 2024 will be our 3-year anniversary.
that's
And yeah, but
crazy.
we started 3 years ago talking about it, and we would like get
Wait,
on the phone and we would like do video. Like we had Teams. Like I made her download Teams so that we could like video
that's
chat, and we
yeah.
would like sit there and like talk about like what topics could we talk about, and we'd like write all down our ideas and like how we would do it, and then we just yeah, like it started
You said
slowly picking away at like
March 24th, 2021 is when you started this?
March 1st,
March
2021
1st?
is our official, yeah, our official launch date was March
So
1st,
Evie was
2021.
born March 11th. So this is
No
the
way.
podcast is like her age. Ah, I just realized that. That's fucked.
We'll have to celebrate
I was like, it's
together.
three
That
years
is
old. That's kind
perfect.
of cool. But,
Your baby, my baby, our
right?
baby,
Isn't that
like
crazy?
I
Like,
grew into our family.
not to mention, like, how, I don't know, like, how many seasons you're in, how far it's come, and that's 3 years of growth. Like, people don't realize
Mhm.
that. Yeah, like, I have a girlfriend who started a podcast not too long ago, and I don't think she really like fully realized how much work goes into it. And
Mhm.
you, as much as you don't like to admit, are the backbone of this fucking bitch. And it just says a lot. Like, you are a fucking, B is our powerhouse. We all bow down to her because, like, without her this wouldn't be. But it's just crazy. Like, you, like, fuck, March, like, that's insane. And it started with
It is.
Teams,
It's like
and we've
that.
tried fucking
Yes,
Zoom, which was
everything.
bullshit. Like,
Yes, yes. I was like, we have to video chat. Like, I
how
want to
did you
see
end
your
up
face because
finding
when
Riverside?
so yeah, so when we started it was on Anchor and it was just audio. So our first two seasons are just sorry, first three seasons
Hmm.
are just audio. And
Hmm.
our fourth season is when we had our first video one. And so
Which I was a
how it
part
came to
of.
be, you absolutely were. Or okay, so sorry, season four then. No, I think we had a whole season.
I thought
Did we
season
have a whole season?
three.
Hold on.
Oh my
I
god, now we
wrote
gotta
notes
go.
because I'm losing my mind. Okay, hold
Oh,
on.
so I'm gonna go look too.
No, because season three is when you found us.
Yeah,
So season four was when our first
when you
video.
started,
So
so I was
yeah,
part
so
of it. That's
yeah,
insane.
yeah. So the first three seasons were on audio and it's through. So anybody that wanted to listen, I also wanted to like, give you some ideas of where to go. So once you've got your like, so we got our podcast, we're like, hey, what are we gonna talk about? Like, are we even gonna have topics? Are we even gonna be able to talk? And then we got
Yeah,
on the phone one night. And 3 hours later, I came inside and
that's
I was
insane.
Grant's like, yeah, I think you guys are going to be able to have a podcast because like our first like real like talk on the phone about like
Everything.
everything fucking imaginable because we were just getting to know each other 3 hours and it was really cool. People that are like maybe like into symbolism in a way, the first night we actually got on the phone, I was sitting in my backyard talking or smoking a joint, and all of a sudden this fucking white owl, I don't remember if you
Hmm.
remember me posting that white owl, came in and just stared at me, and I was like, Kayla,
This is it.
I'm so sorry, you're gonna have to fucking wait a minute, I need to take this fucking owl, just, and she's like, yeah, okay. I threw her on the phone, I went grabbed Frank, took some pictures as I have her on speakerphone, and she shut the fuck up. I'm like, there's this like exotic owl that
That's
just landed out
crazy.
of nowhere in our backyard as me and her had our first conversation. And then we spent 3 hours talking that night. So it was just like, okay, cool. We know we can talk. We know we can like bounce off each other. And so we were like, okay, what about topics? And we just like started going, and we had like a list of topics. We're like, okay, that was easy. There's a whole fucking season. And then we're like, how are we gonna do this? And then we like came up with like, okay, we are gonna talk, and then we're gonna have guests because we wanted it to be everyday people.
Yeah.
We wanted it to be everyone included, so
Anyone who
everyone
has
either
a
has
story
a
or
story.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you think energetically, our throat chakra, right? Like, is that energetically clearing when we allow people to use their voices, whether
Hmm.
it's on a big, small platform, whatever, right? So
Not to
to me,
mention
that was
getting
like an
things off your
energy
chest,
exchange.
right? And
Yeah.
holding
I
in
felt
things
validated.
isn't healthy for you either. So having a
No.
medium or a platform or a space to get shit off your chest is also really healthy.
Yeah, and so that's how we put the setup. Okay, we're going to do us, we're going to do guests, and the next episodes, we were launching 2 episodes. I did do that to start, but it was audio. It was so much
Hmm.
easier because it was audio. We didn't have to care about what we looked like. Like, we didn't have to worry about any of that. And it was like more anonymous, really, too, right? Because it's like you hear my voice, but you don't know my
You don't
face.
know
Like,
what
you,
I look like. It's
unless you
like
went on,
radio,
yeah,
right?
unless,
Like it's just
yeah,
completely
you don't
off
really know.
of. It's funny
Yeah.
too. Like I always feel so bad when like Brandy always asks us for selfies for like the page and stuff, and I sure as fuck do
You do
not look
great.
like half of my photos though. Like I feel so bad for people. They're like, "Oh, let's go watch," and then they get this, or like my
Yeah,
hair
but
like up in a
whatever.
complete messy bun, and I just look like an absolute
No,
hobo. And
I was actually gonna tell you had Angelina Jolie vibes
oh,
going
thank
on
you,
with that pony.
like a
I fucking
fucking
love your long
Tomb
ponytail.
Raider.
I'm so jealous. Yeah, I
No,
love
and
it.
I just there's something very I was so nervous to come on because I'm pretty sure my first one was video. Like you had video from the
It was.
start.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
it is very
Scary.
um just putting yourself out there is very vulnerable, especially when people can see your
Hmm.
face and see your expression and see like
Hmm.
hearing tone of voice. It's like text message. It's very different when you can see someone's face because I could be saying something but have like this complete like sarcastic look on my face or a very serious look or like a very funny look. But like you
Yeah.
can't, it's just yeah, like starting
You
with
can always hear
voice
it in
would
the
have been,
voice.
I think it's smart that you
A
guys
good
did
way of
that
easing.
because yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good way of easing into it. I have to show
Yeah.
you this. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. Probably not. I'll cover. Evie is like
Oh.
laying in the most uncomfortable fucking way right now. Her face is
Oh
like
my
on the
gosh.
pillow, like neck bent. She's so weird
And then you
sometimes.
should wonder why they're cranky in the
God,
morning. It's
yeah.
like, well, you do weird shit
No wonder
like
she's
that. You're
bitchy.
not an extortionist.
Well, I
But
wanted to
yeah, so
ask,
when we started, yeah,
how did
sorry.
you guys,
I was
yeah,
just
like
leading to Riverside.
when starting to get like and like followers and like how'd you guys get yourself out
Oh,
there and like figure out Riverside and find all your like stuff, right?
so after season 3, what ended up happening, and I wasn't even thinking about video. Like I had uploaded our audio versions to YouTube, but like again, like I'm just not a YouTube person. I'm not a social media marketer, so that part's really hard for me. So we uploaded it, but then all of a sudden in season 3, at the end of season 3, it said in Anchor where we upload. So
Mm-hmm.
if you guys ever want to start a podcast, a really good place to go is Anchor. You can do your audio in there.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, your audio in there, but you can upload video if you have that option. And that is essentially the platform that is Spotify, but for podcasters to upload their programs. So I found
Yeah.
Anchor, and then it was like, you need an RSS feed. So I like registered our podcast, and I was like, oh, so I just literally Googled everything, you guys. Like everything you need to know, you can Google or YouTube. Literally, you don't have to pay courses. You can just search it. You just have to do the work. It's just, I'm cheap. So I didn't want to spend money on like a course. I was like, I just want to teach
Yeah.
myself because I feel like it's more organic that way. And I just really didn't have the money to do that at the time either. I just
And those
wanted to
courses
flower
can
and I was
cost a
making no
lot.
money. Yes, they can. And I
Yeah.
was just like, but there's stuff free on Google if you have the time
Or
and willingness. So
YouTube
it
and
popped up and it said that we were chosen as one of the people to pilot video on Anchor that would release on Spotify. And so I like messaged Kayla and I was like, holy fuck. We just like, I
mm-hmm.
don't know if that was everybody or if that was a select few because we were at that point uploading for a year and a half straight, right? So like we had been feeding into Anchor every week for a year and a half at
Dude,
this
that's
point. So
insane.
it would make sense, right? Like for us to get the opportunity. And so I just sent her, do you want to give this a try? And she's like, fuck yeah, let's give it a try. So I just literally Googled like, what's the best
Yeah,
podcast
platform.
video platform, and all these ones came up and I just like compared all of them. I compared pricing, and I just seen people stuff on Zoom, and I was like, and being like a Teams person, I just, those to me are for meetings, like, and that's great, amazing, some people can have great
Mm-hmm.
podcasts on there, I'm not saying that. It's just, I don't know, this one's designed for podcasting and it's
It's
new, so they're like continually improving, and I love being a part of the development of
yeah.
this platform as well,
It's a
which
lot
is cool.
different on Zoom too because I didn't realize it and my mom actually told me, but my mom uses it more often, so I don't know why I didn't believe her, like didn't trust her on it. That yeah, like we found out you have to pay if you want to go over 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And like, who the heck, like,
Yep.
if any of you are new, Brandy and I do not talk for less than an hour. Like, it's
No,
just
I thought
not,
this
it
was gonna
doesn't
be half an
happen.
hour, and here we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, it doesn't
Here we are
happen that
already.
way. Like
No.
we just,
No.
especially on some of the topics that we want to discuss, that we like to discuss, like you can't do it justice. So yeah,
No.
and the price of some things, like
Yeah.
editing
It was so
software,
expensive.
marketing, like you could end up like if you really had time and money to dedicate to it, if we had won the lottery or we were
Yep.
bazillionaires, like we could end up
Could make
doing
money.
this. Yeah, but
Yep. For sure. Don't have that
it's
time right now,
well,
unfortunately.
that, and it's just,
Unfortunately, it's not what I'd want to do full time, to be honest with you.
I feel like
I just
you
too
also
much
like,
pressure.
this was more of a creative outlet, hobby, like passion
Yeah.
project than it was I
100%.
want to make money on this.
Moneymaker.
It would be nice, and like ideally
Oh,
that's where like you'd
totally.
like to take it, but
Of
it's
course.
not like the pressure of trying to make money on this. You would go crazy, especially with like,
Yeah.
so when you guys started, it was just
Yes.
obviously like we've got like what, 1,000, just under 1,050 followers or something like that. 1,036, I
On
think I
Instagram.
saw. Yeah,
Yep. Yep.
like that. The majority of that would have been your base following, or some of that would have been like you and Kayla's like base following.
Friends. Yep.
But like the amount of, because I'm linked obviously to our Instagram, or the Instagram account,
Mm-hmm.
the amount of people that like, especially in our weird like upticks when we're not filming in
Yes.
the middle of our seasons,
Yes.
somehow we
Ah.
we get a lot of like random followers that I feel like
Yes.
is just, it's so cool to see it build. So I think the natural progression is what I'm trying to get at of the podcast, and not
Yes.
have the pressure of having to like make money because we need it to, like, has been so beautiful. And like even seeing like
Yes.
some of my friends comment and people that I know, I'm like, oh my god, I know
I
you,
know. It's so
you're
fun,
my
isn't
friend.
it?
Like, what?
Yes. It's so great.
It is
Yes.
so fun. Like I had a girlfriend wish me happy
Yeah.
birthday and tell me to keep up my work on the podcast because it's so needed, and how awesome it was. And like I could have like bawled my eyes out, because
Oh, I'm
that's
gonna
what you
cry.
do at 34 years old, because you're just
Yeah, you
that
just cry about everything.
sappy old bitch. But it was
Yes.
so nice. Like it's just, it was, yeah, it was really nice. And like I can't even imagine how you feel, because like the majority of those followers have to be there from you, your efforts. Like I do help, but
Yeah.
full disclosure,
It's
Brandy does like 80 to 90% of the work. I'm like the back ass 10% of it.
shut up.
Like it is
Oh,
so,
you do great.
it's just, I
It's a
think
passion project,
the
right?
moral of this whole episode is you do not realize the amount of work that goes in behind the scenes. So when
Yeah.
we get episodes that are like super hyped and like the numbers are going crazy and people like watching it, it feels so validating. And we don't do this for the
Absolutely.
validation. We don't do this for like
No.
recognition or fame or anything. It's
No.
just, but it is nice to know that people are fucking watching this, and people are like obviously telling friends about it or something, because like we,
Mhm.
like I said, some of the upticks we get of like a couple hundred
Yeah.
views, or like 100 views a
Yeah.
day, or like
In a
50 views in
day.
a day, it's like, bitch, what? Especially when we're on
I
our
remember
weird down ticks and we're
downtimes.
not
Yeah.
promoting much or anything. And as people are like going and
No,
binging
not at
episodes, it's
all.
like, yes,
Yes,
binge,
queens.
watch them
Queens do.
all.
Yeah, get them in there.
I love
Be
it.
addicted to it.
I also
It is so
love
fun, and it is.
that you said Anchor. For anyone who wants, Anchor also gives you really cool stats on who is watching
Yes.
and where
Yes.
they're from. And that
Yes.
shit is
Yeah.
fucking wild.
Yeah, the last one was Montenegro, and I was like, fucking A. Like, literally, it shows you, yeah, all
Right?
those different things. So, Anchor's really great, and now they support video. And what Anchor does is it pushes it out to all the podcast platforms. So, I upload it to Anchor,
Yeah.
I put the picture in, I put all that stuff in, like the artwork, and then I hit publish or schedule, and it uploads to all of the podcast platforms out there.
God, it's
Rumble
nice.
and YouTube. Rumble and YouTube have to go by themselves, unfortunately. But at the end of the day, like, it's I just upload it on my computer in the morning. I put them all up there by the time I get home, except for this last fucking 2 weeks ago. I put words in the description. So like Anchor, you like upload it, and like sometimes I won't have the like
I love that.
description for the episode ready
Words.
yet when I've uploaded it. So, but you need to put word description in there, like a description. So I would just put words,
At
and then I
least you
go
put words
back,
and not like blah 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 bitch, or like blah, like I would be
suck your
stupid enough to
mom
be
or
like, yeah,
something.
suck a big fat cock. Like
Yeah.
At least you put worse.
And I just like was looking back because we're getting seen a little bit more lately, and we're having new people. So I was just like,
Dude,
maybe,
it's
you know,
so
you've had a
cool.
couple stressful weeks at work. Maybe you should go back and check some of them. And the episode
I got
152 from like 2 weeks ago, it's been posted for 2 weeks. Said words as a description. I like was sitting at work today. I was
I
like,
fucking
"You've
love
got to be
that.
fucking kidding me!" I just
Oh,
died. And then on top of that, so I recorded my first. You guys will see in the last episode my first
oh
like
shit,
advertisement
man.
for a business and a friend, and
I'm
I've
dead.
never done one of those before, so I was really struggling. Like I probably recorded like tried to start what I was gonna say. I would say a solid 18 times. So it
Oh
was
my
a couple
god.
like a month ago, and I
Yeah.
couldn't figure out which one it was. So I'm like, okay, I'll go to the transcripts because that'll tell me which what it is. And so I'm like
Fuck.
looking through, and it's like I'm really struggling here. I just want to eat this fucking cookie. And then
That's what you
underneath,
sent
hey
us
babes,
earlier.
we got it. Yeah. And then like you could just see it be like, hey babes, what is fucking wrong with me? Like I should make a book out of all of my bloopers on this
Oh my
transcripts of me
god.
doing the intros. Because holy fuck, I'm an idiot sometimes. But anyways, yeah, then we had to look for it, and we were comparing, like you said, Zoom is pretty expensive for what I thought wasn't great. And with Riverside, it's designed for this and specifically for this. And I liked how they had different
Hmm.
tiers, right? And so I was like, I want to give it a try. And they've been amazing, actually. Like we've only lost like maybe one or two episodes. One was able to be retrieved, one wasn't.
Well, and they're really good,
um
like on the back end when you need them to like,
yes.
if
Oh yeah.
like a video doesn't load or something silly
Yep.
or like skips out and is kind of like not damaged but like not what you need. Like they're really good by the
Yep.
sounds of it. Thank God.
Yeah. Yeah, their tech is. And actually, Bianca with Could It Be podcast, she actually started using Riverside
Oh,
after
good.
joining us on here and seeing what it was like. She's like, no, this is great. And I even know like practitioners that have used this instead of Zoom to like record their sessions with
Yeah.
them, because you can share on here. So, like, there's really a lot of options for people. I personally love it.
Yeah.
I don't have a link or an affiliate link. I just go to it and enjoy it and like have fun with it. It's a fun program. It's getting better, and like, there's actually a community on Facebook where they're constantly telling you different things to little different things to do. And I feel like she's looking at me, but maybe not looking at me.
Ugh,
Oh, mom.
gross.
How's that French
Shorty,
kiss from the dog?
Shorty can't lick her bits in her ass where she can.
Oh
So
no.
kisses from
Oh,
her are very
that's
different. She also likes to eat
they're
her own
very
shit
different.
every now and then, which is fucking gross. So
Oh, that's fun for you.
yeah,
I love
that
that for
was
you.
not
Um,
not what I wanted,
Not
but
the greatest. No. But yeah, so Riverside's really great if you're wanting to do. And the thing with Riverside is that you can edit it, and there's
yeah.
actually a Facebook community where they continually tell you what's new, and they get feedback, and like they want to know how to make it better, and they're continually improving.
Mm-hmm.
They really lean into a lot of AI stuff, which I fucking hate, but like
Yeah.
whatever, I'm not gonna hold it against them. It is what it is. I just don't use those features. But you can actually like get your own social media clips and like get them to put the captions and da 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 da. I do that all organically on the outside. So to speak to what you're saying about getting the following, I think a big part of it is like, yeah, for sure. I'm sure I had an impact on that. I've been here for
For sure you
3 years
have.
now. So definitely won't discredit that, even though inside of me is like, shut the fuck up. That's so egotistical, you know.
But
But
word of mouth.
a lot of it, yeah, is, and actually our guests, right? This is all what the ripple effect is about, right? Is
Yeah.
like we invite a guest in to tell their story, and all their friends are going to come and listen and support them, and then they're going to find other people. And we just thought if we did that, it would just ripple out
It
to all
does
of the
too.
rest of Canada, and hopefully to the rest of the world. And in 5 years time, maybe we could be on all continents. And I wish I would have looked before.
Hell,
I
five
can't
years? Are
even
you
look it
kidding
up
me?
right
Where
now.
you guys hit most of the continents, I would assume in the first year or two. Oh my
Yeah, I
god,
can
you
actually pull
guys.
up the stats right here on Anchor.
Well,
But yeah, so then the
I will.
social media, like we did it. Sorry, you go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I will say that like when Joe and I did our episode, she had friends that wanted to support her and listen to the episode, and yeah, like they were coming over to follow, which I sent to B. It was funny. As soon as they went to
Yeah.
follow, it says, "Are you sure?" Because they share like inappropriate information. They're like, fuck yeah, like even more do I want to
Extra
follow,
follow.
extra follow. So yeah, like it was really cute to see that,
Love
and
them.
I thought that was hilarious.
Super hilarious. And I love
Constantly
that. And it's
sharing
like
misinformation. Fuck yes.
but our stories was at 150 views today, so we're coming out of our
Oh,
break.
thank God.
So we're consistently seeing some of the numbers rise on there. And it's a ripple effect. And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to help people, like you said, not feel alone
Yeah.
in a variety of topics. We didn't want to limit it to one or two things. We wanted to touch on everything because and so let's go to like I'll go with these stats in a second, but like speaking to like where did the name come from?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe those that know, maybe those don't. I used to be a photographer. My last name is Fick. My married last name is Fick. So my photography company was BFick Photography. I don't know why.
I
I
love that.
just actually I do know why. I do know why. One Tree Hill. They used to always refer to themselves as like the first letter. I can't remember right now because I'm having a brain fart. But you know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Like that's how they did it. It was like everyone called themselves the first initial and your last name. So
Yeah.
mine was B Fick and my girlfriend was K Murray. So that's what we used to always call each other. And so I came with B Fick. And then when I got divorced, I kept it for a little bit, but then I
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, this feels kind of weird. And I was rebranding at the time and really wanted to push that I was a natural photographer. I'm not a super edited photographer. So then I changed my photography business to BU Photography. Um, and then when we started talking about names for the podcast, I wanted to try to keep that kind of title in
Like the
it.
theme
Um,
type thing.
yeah, like be
Mm-hmm.
whatever, right? And so we're like, what would we call this? Like real talk. And I was like, what about be real? And then I was like, what about like be real, babe? Like, and
Yeah.
it just stuck after that. And now it's like, oh, and then that way we're just like, we don't have to be limited to sex talk, mental health talk,
Yeah.
women talk,
Just
mom
real
talk,
topics, right?
conspiracy talk,
Well,
just real
well, it
topics
wasn't.
and being honest,
Yeah, it
right?
wasn't a limiting title. It wasn't a
Yeah.
genre title. It was an all-encompassing type thing.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
not even just in the topics that we speak about, but how we approach our show and how we do things. You know, my
Mm-hmm.
favorite thing is when people come on the show and they're so fucking nervous because they think that we're like this professional production, and they come on and I'm like, fucking shit, balls,
That
cunt,
was
you
Joe.
know,
Can
like,
I swear? I'm like,
yeah, right.
fuck yeah. Like,
Please do. Like,
she's like,
I'm
I don't know
sad
if I'll
when
be
you
able to get
don't.
through a conversation without it. I'm like, girl, me neither. What? The whole point of being
Nah,
real.
no. Yeah, every time I put X rated, you guys, like I'm not an asshole. Every single platform, I put that we are not suitable for children.
I
Like
also
I
kind of
make that clear. We
appreciate
are not
that.
viewed on.
th- like we will if we have to, especially with a guest, edit things. Obviously, like we're not like opposed to it,
Put
but
their comforts
if
first.
it's just Brandy and I, unless it glitches, we ain't editing shit. You get
Hell
literally
no.
everything. Even the one time we had those
Yeah.
serious technical, like with the Zoom, like the technical shit,
Oh
like
my god.
that's the whole point of being real. Hopefully you can't hear that and you have to edit that out. The
That's
whiny
fine.
little cow behind
No,
me.
that's fine.
Lola.
But it's real life. But it's
Yeah.
real life, right? And that's the whole point. Like I've had moms be on like literally breastfeeding their babies underneath because they just had to and their babies were crying in the background. Like it happens.
That was me with Joe.
See?
I was trying to angle the
Yeah.
camera up like this so no one could see it because it's just a hot
I
topic
thought
that
she was just sleeping.
that I'm still. Well, she was for most of it, but every
Oh,
now and then she would paw at me, and I'm like, okay. So I'm like trying to like be discreet and lift my shirt and do the whole thing. Like it was just
didn't even notice.
funny, but
You're so funny.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
love
like
that though.
though that I want
Authentic. That's what it is. Like you said,
yeah.
that's life. Life ain't perfect.
This
Sorry.
life. No. And we've had shit happen like in this first season, one of actually it was season 2 with Kendall. It was for some reason she was in Grand Prix, so it wasn't like we
Hmm.
were in a weird connection, but we just could not connect. Like it literally Anchor was not working. So instead, I had Anchor on my one phone and she called me on the other phone and we just recorded it like a conversation. The audio wasn't great, but the
Isn't that
like the
crazy?
best, but the content was amazing. I was like, "No, I don't care. Like I don't
I just
it's
want to
always
get it
been that
out,
way too."
right?
And I just want to get it out and I want it to be authentic and real, and especially with our opinions. If that changes tomorrow in a year, that's what fucking happens. And we need to be all okay with that, right?
I
Like,
think
we don't have to be grounded in our thoughts all the time. And that's how we are. We can
I
change.
think the only time there's something I said in one of our last episodes that like I didn't like the way I worded it or like the way I said it.
Fair,
But even then I told
fair.
B I was like, ooh, I didn't know if I liked that. She's like, do you want me to edit it? I was like, no, because that's what it is and you learn from shit like
Yeah,
that. And like you said, my opinion may be one thing a month ago that I've kind of formulated new thoughts, new opinions on since. And
yeah,
that's kind of what I don't want to say I pride myself, but like that's what we're like you're allowed to change your opinion. That's what this whole thing is about is
yeah,
discussion, learning, and yeah, getting all
Um,
sides of things, and like doing, when we do research, like there's been a few episodes like, this isn't what I thought it was going to be when I started looking into it, and like
yeah,
that's what I like about this, is like you and I can go back and forth, and even when we do, sometimes mid conversation I'll be sitting here thinking like, oh, okay, well maybe my feelings are a little
didn't
bit
think about it
different on,
that way.
yeah, like I didn't really think of it
Yeah,
that way, and like I think that's the beauty of the whole real part, is like real time, you know, discussion, real
yep,
time formulation of opinions sometimes, and
realization.
real
Yeah,
realizations.
yeah,
She wants to go upstairs real bad but can't. My god.
because she's afraid of the stairs.
No, because Nick got home and she knows he's up there, and yeah, she wants to go upstairs. Hi, sweet baby, come here. She wants to go upstairs so bad, but can't get up there because there's too many of
He's
them.
so small.
But I can't play. She is almost worse than having a
No
child, let me
children.
tell you
I
this.
feel like animals are for sure.
They're
Yeah,
so
no,
much.
that's what I love about it too. Because I'm not afraid to be wrong, you guys, and
No.
nobody should, unless you're actually going and like yelling at someone or like purposely hurting
Or
people.
being
When you have an
malicious about
opinion,
it.
yeah, but when you have an opinion and you have a thought of something, it's actually not attacking people, and it's not like any of those things. Like you're not actually hurting people's feelings because it's
Yeah.
your opinion, and people need to like look at themselves a little bit why they care so much about other people's opinions on something.
Yeah.
And we've always been open to discussion too, like and well, like we said, we'll full on admit like,
Hmm.
oh, that wasn't what we thought. Like we'll be the first people to be the most like critical, but when we see something, we're like, no, like that's fair,
And I
I don't
have
know.
yet to
That's what I
have
like about it.
someone like scream at me or DM me or DM us saying like,
Only one
what you
time.
said was
One time.
disgusting. Really, one time?
Yeah, it was about vaccines, and she was mad.
Oh, well, I
This
mean,
is, I
that
think,
was a
just
topic.
before.
That was a topic and a
Yeah, I
half,
think it
that
was.
one.
I think it was after the vaccine injury one. To be honest with you,
Probably.
um,
That is a hot topic.
yeah,
But
that was a hot topic at the
yeah.
time. So speaking about stats, so I'm looking on
Yes.
Riverside right now. So it's really cool. So they show you your overview, your audience, and your episode ranking. So at the current moment, as recording this episode, we have 13,409 plays. All time since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
They have this new thing on here where it's called impressions. So it's the number of impressions across your entire podcast organized by date. So essentially, it's like if your podcast episode or podcast showed up in the search engine or someone was looking for it. So in the last 30 days, we've had on Spotify search, like our episode or podcast has come up on the search bar 2,700 times. It's
That's
pretty
not
fucking
bad.
cool. And on 426 people's home screens. So, when you like
That's
open
pretty
your
cool.
podcast and you look at Spotify and they have like the random podcast that you maybe don't listen to,
Yeah.
for 426 people, they got to see our artwork.
What are our countries right now?
So cool. So our country, so
That's
obviously we're
always
at
the
80%
coolest.
for Canada, but when we started, we were 100% Canadian, right? So it slowly dropped to the States, and then all of a sudden we started growing in different countries, and then when we started talking to people in
Dude,
different
that's so
countries,
cool.
we started getting them are. So 80% is Canada, 17% the US of A, and then under 1%, we've got anywhere from the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Montenegro, Norway, Germany, Russia, India, Ireland, Mexico,
That's
France,
so
Brazil,
cool.
Dominican. Oh, I'm not even done yet. Romania, Spain, Switzerland, Costa Rica, Colombia, Bolivia, South Africa, Philippines, Puerto Rico, Argentina, Belgium, Iceland, Peru, Ghana, Grenada, Portugal, Japan, Austria, and the Ukraine.
Like, what? And the Ukraine. Holy.
Yeah.
And Russia.
Well, listen,
We got them
to the
all.
yeah, we got them all, man. Somebody from somewhere has listened to us. Our majority are female. We are starting to creep in with some males. Thanks, probably, I'm sure, to our man
What
Dusty
about the
there.
NBs? Didn't we have 1% at
Zero.
one point?
We did, and now we have zero. So we must have pissed them off with the last couple episodes. Sorry,
I
man.
remember when you told us we had a non-binary follower. I'm like,
Yeah, I was like, this feels.
have they
I
listened to
feel
our
like they're
episodes
gonna not.
yet? I feel like they're
Yeah,
gonna be
like did
gone
they?
soon. No
Yeah, they.
disrespect, but like,
No,
I
I
don't
don't
I
think they're
don't
your
feel like
people
our
though.
topics are very friendly towards their
Not
demographic.
much. Yeah,
That's funny.
91% listen on their iPhone, 88.8% listen on Apple Podcasts, 7.7% on Spotify. Apple Podcast is our main thing. And on Apple
7 on
Podcasts, you can
Spotify?
leave us a review. Yeah, and we have like I think it's like 15 or 20 5-star reviews on Apple. So if you guys are listening,
Can you not leave
please
reviews
go
on
there right now.
Spotify? I'm going to
You
go look.
can leave stars. I think you can. I don't know because I run the platform. I obviously can't do that. But our top episode is at 250 plays, and that's the episode that you found us in the overall effects
Fuck yeah, I
lockdowns.
did.
And And to be honest with you guys, the majority of our most listened to episodes, third is Botox illness, fifth is explant therapy, sixth is BII, another one, and body image. So those ones are obviously super important ones. So I'm glad that we continue
So
to talk on BII.
on Spotify, we have 7 5-star reviews.
Ooh, thank you guys. That's amazing.
I
Let's try
love
and get to 10 by the end of the year. Let's
7.
go.
That's
2020,
so cute.
2023.
Yeah,
Thank you
episode
guys.
54, and now we're at what? Episode 150.
155. Oh, this episode is 156. No, 156. Yeah, because your and Joe's was 155.
Isn't that crazy? Like, fuck, we've
It
done
is
100
crazy.
episodes since I found you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So then end of season 3, Kayla was actually here to visit because she
Hmm.
tries to come on an annual trip. So for those that don't know, because like I said before, me and Kayla actually met online and we built this whole podcast and we didn't actually meet until end of season 2 in the summertime. So we actually ran 2 whole seasons of our podcast without meeting in real life. And then she came up and met me in the summertime and we had like our first like hangout. It was really great. And then she's been up here ever since. So when she came back the following year, that's when we announced that we were going to do video next season.
Hmm.
And we didn't do that on Riverside. It was just a dirty video from my phone of us sitting in my office, just talking shit beside each other. To like the first time, season 2, our season finale, we did the same thing. We sat in my car and got stoned and did audio
Yeah,
together in the same room. It was the first time we had recorded together in the
I
same
love
room.
that.
And then we went away and then we had a whole year again of podcasting, not being in the same room. And then she came back and then we did our first video together for our second time recording together. And then, yeah, unfortunately she didn't come this summer, but she's coming in a month.
I'm gonna die the day we get to record one together. I don't know what I'm gonna do,
I know, it's
but
going to be
it's
so
still
great.
weird.
It'll
Like,
happen.
I think it's because we get to see each other like this that it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not like, I don't know. Seeing each other, it'll be weird, but it won't be
It would.
weird. You know what I mean? Because like,
Yes. It's like familiar, but not familiar.
yeah, but yeah, like
Yeah. Like you're familiar on this level, but like 3D
it's
version
so
of
weird
you.
because
Like
I
you're.
talk about you like with Nick and friends and family and stuff, like B and K and D, and everyone's like, who? Like, who the fuck is this? I'm like, my friends. And they're like, who the fuck?
Are
I'm
these
like,
made
okay,
up?
look.
Are they
Like,
imaginary friends?
well, it's just crazy because, like, yeah, online friends are just as real, first of all.
They are.
Second
And
of
we can
all,
make such good connections.
yeah, it's crazy to, like I said, it's wild to me that it's not even been 2 years, and yeah, we're like a part of each other's every day, and like we talk
Yeah.
literally every day, if not every
Every
other
day.
day at the very
Multiple days.
least.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's just it I don't know, I love it. It probably some of my easiest formed friendships because they were just organic. Like, it wasn't forced. I
Mm-hmm.
had no fucking clue who you guys were. We weren't like
No.
coworkers. They're going to school together. We
No.
weren't physically put together. So this was
Connected.
like a very
Yeah.
much a, you want to be friends
Energetic.
because you want to be friends because it takes effort, because we're not neighbors. We're not close to each other. You
No.
can't just like go see each other. You have to like put forth the
Put the work
effort.
in.
Yeah. So I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. And I think the connection is deeper because especially like in the first, like with me and Kayla, the first couple episodes, it's like or seasons was me and her really going through like our spiritual awakening and like coming out of the like
Yeah.
pharma like life of like being on medication and birth control and like everything we thought we knew and we kind of were going through that together and like working through some like kind of dark trauma on both ends and we were
Hmm.
just like we had to be very honest with each other with all of this because it was like hitting these big revelations like publicly, right? So it's like,
That's
some of the episodes, it's like, this is hard to talk about for the first time in front of who the fuck knows where this is going to go one day,
that
right?
can be
Like,
kind of the hard part about it too, is like like it's not like we're not like crazy public, but it's still public.
mm-mm.
Like, it's
But
still
you don't
putting
know. You don't
your
know when you
things
blow
out
up
there.
though.
Well, you don't know who's watching you, their bosses,
No.
coworkers. Like, you don't
Mm-mm.
know who you're sharing this information with, right?
You creeps, you fucking creeps. Just kidding.
Creeps.
No, but it's true, right? You just and you so you want to think about that, and like I also want to think about like I want to be real, but some of
Hmm.
the people in my lives, like it's not for me to tell their parts of the story, right?
Yeah.
Like I want to tell about stuff and I want to talk about my divorce, but I don't also think it's fair for me to just reveal everything about me and Steve's last relationship because that's not just mine. It's not just solely mine. It's his as
Right.
well, right? And so there's things I'll share as like how that affected me as a woman and how I dealt with things, but I don't want to share specifics about our marriage because that's not fair to him and that's not what we did the show. Like the show wasn't about like OT and hot gossip and like
Yeah.
hitting the controversial topics to get clout. It was talking about it in a way that's not necessarily being quote unquote accepted, that needs to be,
Yeah.
right? It's not like we're doing it to like get people in to make money and clout. Like that does not happen at all. It's more like, hey, these vaccines are killing people.
Let's talk
Why are we not
about
talking
it.
about
Yeah,
this?
like
Like, can we?
why is this
What
such
are
a
they
hush
doing
hush
up there?
topic? Like why is this
Yeah, what's
not?
in here? Why is everyone so crazy? We got questions. But so then we decided that because he's like you said, so it's cost me probably about $500 a year for Riverside and like the
Sheesh.
editing programs. So if anyone's looking, I use a program called DaVinci Resolve. It is fucking
Cool.
complicated
But
and cool.
the amount of
And
stuff you
like
can do on
if
there
you
is
have
pretty fucking.
the amount of stuff, yeah. So I've just learned how to do the basics for now, and I'm trying to grow every season that I can. It's also difficult to, like we said, do all the things in the background because you record an episode, guests, like that's probably one of the hardest ones. I love all of you so much.
Yeah.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with any of you, but it is the one of the most difficult parts is lining up
Let me
schedules.
tell you, girl. I love you, Joe, but yeah, Joe, like we talked about and everything. We probably had 4 or 5 like dates
Reschedules.
before. Yeah, like I don't know how you've done this for so long or how you have the patience, and like we talked about how like it can kind of affect your. I don't want to say it doesn't, but
Psyche.
it affects your psyche, and it kind of like it's hard to do, especially with people you know and you're friends with, because if something keeps happening or they keep having to reschedule, yeah, it can really fuck with you. Like, do I not
Mhm.
matter? Like, do you not care about this? Like, fuck, man, it is a lot. And
And then it happens to you, right? It
yeah,
happens to you, and then you're like, oh, okay, I get it. So that's where
yeah,
I've been that compassion where it's like, if I put that in there, especially with my co hosts, of being like, y'all have kids, I get that, right? So, like, shit happens literally,
yeah,
physically,
literally,
and literally has happened one time, right? And like, I'm never going to be that way because that's what we don't make money on it.
yeah.
So if we miss an episode because baby's sick, that's okay. Like, you had a shit fucking day. Like, I had a great day. Like, it's not I had a bad day, but I have busy days to the point where I get off work and I'm like, 1 + 1 has to equal 17. Like, that's just where I'm at right now.
We
Right. And so it's like, but I don't care because I love talking to you and I love being here and I don't need to look perfect. And if I look tired and like a bum, I don't care because
we were supposed to record
it's
this
what we do.
episode on Sunday, and this
Monday.
bitch or Monday, this bitch right here had just a long day, and I got completely distracted and caught up. And half an hour, I'm like, oh my fucking god! And I'm like, Brandy, are you still there? She's like, no, I waited a few minutes and then I logged off. I'm like, oh my god, dude, like I feel so terrible. I felt like such a piece of shit. But like it's not
It's
like I
supposed to
do it
be
all the
this
time or
episode too.
anything, but like
No,
I
no.
just yeah, I was like fuck.
It wasn't on a normal night. That's why we
Oh,
usually
it
record Fridays or Sunday
just
nights, and it
I felt
happened. And so,
so bad.
yeah.
Worst
Oh,
fucking
whatever. And you know what? I think for that, it's always been like, I'm such a person that's like, okay, if it wasn't meant to be, there's a reason. Like,
yeah.
one of us would have stuttered or we wouldn't be in the mood for it or something. So, like, I've always been that person. You have to be. And that's why I try to get us a little bit ahead. So, yeah, I would say if you're doing audio, like, go on Anchor. It's a really great place to do it. When you're doing Riverside's amazing because you can connect to people all over the world. You just give them
Yeah.
a link and you can talk to them. And we've had guests from Shanghai, we've had guests from Australia,
The
throughout all
states.
the
Yep.
states, the other side of Canada. So we've definitely we've recorded with guests across the world. So I think that's really cool. But yeah, season 6 that we're in, this is episode 156. Holy crap. Yeah, I just think it's, and speaking, sorry, I kind of go back to your social media thing.
Yeah.
So, um, the problem, what I've had to build the social media is how much shadow banned I get. So I will have a guest on the show that has, let's say, a very high following,
Yeah.
and they just won't see our stuff because we're so shadow banned. And that's the part that I struggle with because I work so hard and I'll share something like masks don't work. And then all of a sudden I'm banned for 90 days and no one sees my
Is
advertising.
that
So
not
it's
like
like,
the stupidest reason? Fuck like
and so it's like if people aren't seeing me on Instagram, so we've gone to Pinterest. So our Pinterest account now gets like 2,000 views per month on our little reels
we
that
are
we put up
popping
there.
on
So yeah,
Pinterest.
yeah, it's crazy over there. And then we do YouTube shorts as well, and those get decent views to kind of like link people back to our episodes. And but we really did grow that organically. I've only ran, I think, 2, maybe 3 like giveaway contests over the last like 3 years. I really didn't want to. I just wanted it to always be organic.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about it, I wanted it to be organic, and I will continue always to be that way. Um, One thing I pride myself on is that I have only recorded 2 episodes that I've never posted, that I've never launched out of
I
all of
know
those
of the
episodes.
one.
Yeah, there's two. So
Was
the
one
one
like
that was just
earlier?
recent,
Yeah.
and then one was before that. Yeah, where there was like wanting to be changes in what we were saying and
And
what I was
were
saying.
were both of them due to like over editing and like not wanting certain parts in and blah blah
Yeah,
blah?
just wanting just yeah, like the last one, it was kind of an advocacy one
Yeah.
about plastic surgery. Didn't work and
Oh, so I
go
know about
through.
both of
I
them then.
understand
So that
why.
is the
You
other
do know
one.
about
Okay.
both of
Okay.
them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because I did spend half an hour like recording that
Mhm.
episode and then sent it to said guest. And unfortunately this person is just going through a lot right now. So not really the time, even though they thought it was.
Yeah.
And just there's too much nerves around it, and I don't want anyone to ever feel
Yeah.
nervous or like, yeah, nervous, like
Uncomfortable.
whatever, but like truly uncomfortable because they're just not ready to accept that full part of the story, and that's totally
And then the other
understandable.
was
That's
the
why,
editing, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, wanting to censor not their speech but my speech, and to
No.
protect them from potential work backlash. And unfortunately, like if you're worried about getting backlash from being on our podcast, like then don't
Don't
come on
come
our
on it.
podcast.
Yeah.
I mean that in the nicest way. It's nothing rude. It's just
There's one thing
we're
about
about real talk.
editing and censoring your speech, but like ours is a
Mm-hmm.
very like no.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well
And I
be
just,
Trudeau. Like fuck that.
yeah, absolutely. And we're all about like informed consent and people knowing stuff, right? And it's like that's why we want people on with
Hmm.
experiences. So you get a variety of people telling you what's going on with them, because you're not going to hear that from doctors. You're not going to hear all the time, right? And it's not to say that to replace them with doctors. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that add that to your toolbox. I was going to say tool bag, toolbox. I don't
It's
know why
funny because
bag
we
just sounded
have
really
tool
funny.
bags. We
Tool
don't have
bag.
hard
Do
boxes.
you?
We have bags at home
See,
upstairs. Yeah,
perfect. Okay.
that's
I don't know
funny.
why that just seemed like such an insulting word. You tool
Tool
bag.
bag.
Yeah. And so yeah, it's been really great. I'm super grateful. 13,000 plays is unreal. I remember the
Dude, that's
first
wild.
week thinking, "Fuck, we're not even gonna get a play," and we got, I think, like the first couple of weeks, I think we got like 50, and I was just ecstatic. I got addicted to refreshing
Do you know how many
the.
guests you've had?
Oh fuck.
At least over 100. If we've got
Yeah,
100, if we've got 150
probably.
episodes, over like
A lot of
156
them are just me and you.
episodes, a lot of them are you and I and D.
Yeah. But
But
we had
I would
some
say,
episodes with like 3 guests.
I'd say conservatively, you could probably say you've had at least 70. 50,
Yes,
50
I'd
to
say that's fair to say.
70.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
and they've been
cool.
amazing, and I'm so grateful, and like we just
Some
keep connecting
repeats
more
for
and
sure.
more. Some 100% we have our like faves for sure that have come back, and
Hmm.
some that I keep chasing, some new ones that are coming that, like, and again, we've had some amazing ones line up, and it's just
Falls
timing
through
sucks
and yeah.
and falls through, and it's okay though. Like it is what it is. It's, again, we don't make money off this, so the pressure of like we got to post, like, yes, I have OCD and I'm a perfectionist, and for us to be successful, you have to be consistent.
Yeah.
So I'm consistently uploading the same time, same with Instagram. And that's the same thing, like Instagram, Facebook, it all gets uploaded same time every day, same content, da 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 da. Once we break out of this like shadow ban, more people will see it. But yeah, when it comes to podcasting, just quickly before we wrap up, it is an amazing energy connection. It's an
Hmm.
amazing channel. It's a beautiful thing. Like you will get deep connections with your co-hosts because you have to. You're going through a business essentially that's not making money.
Yeah.
So the hard parts of running a business and then not having the gratitude of money, and only those that can see energy as the same thing as money
Hmm.
can see that that is, an exchange, and that's fair. Time is money. So, like some people don't have it, and that's totally understandable, like guests or anything,
Yeah.
right?
I'll
But
say,
for me, fills my fucking cup.
like we always say too, like you can't have the light without the dark. So as fun and good as it
Mm,
is, if you do plan on starting one, be prepared for some disappointment and for some ups and downs.
100%.
But I would say the ups are worth all of the downs. Like it is
It's always the
easily worth
technical
it.
shit. It's always like social media that's not letting you tag somebody, or
You and I are kind of
Instagram
the
just
same
not.
where we like I I'm not opposed to tech. Like I'm pretty tech savvy. I'm
Yeah,
always like in-house
me
IT
too.
for most companies I work for, like my family and stuff. So like
I like
I'm
to nerd
pretty
out and
good.
figure it
Yeah,
out.
I'm pretty good at like figuring stuff out, but yeah, especially editing softwares. Okay, let's not chew on the computer cable, bitch. The fuck. But yeah, like that kind of stuff, it there's a learning curve to it for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and patience, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I would just say be prepared for it to be a lot of work because you can't, you're not, unless you're famous or you're already got a following, you can't just post it and then
No.
just expect it to go. Like you have to put
Yeah.
time in it. You have to put in effort. You have to be consistent. A lot of people I notice, and like, no
Fuck.
offense, it's not to them because they're maybe not as committed, but they'll post an episode every couple of months.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like
Or
you really
like
have to feed
yeah.
in to get on there, right? It's an exchange for them too. Why would Anchor and Spotify put you out there if you're not giving them stuff? They're going to put in people that put into their bank, right? So,
Yes.
but just be aware it's a lot of work because it's not just showing up here and looking cute in my white jumpsuit, for the hour and having a great time with one of my best friends. It's okay, now I'm done this. I'm going to record the introduction and then I'm going to download this so that when I wake up tomorrow, I can start editing it.
Mhm.
And then I'm going to edit it. That takes 2 to 3 hours to upload. And then I got to upload all of those to the distribution platforms. And then I have to do description for the episode that we just
It's a
recorded. And
lot.
then after that, I have to do all the content, make 3 reels an episode, one artwork for the podcast, like title, and then I do a quote, and like all these things are so that I can feed into like social media, so that's our advertising
Yeah.
outside of like words, right? Like sharing whatever. So I don't think people understand all of that goes in there. And then you got to think about, you got to structure your seasons. Then you got to figure out, what are you talking about? Are you going to have
Yeah.
guests? Are you going to be a monologue? Are you going to do one episode, 2 episodes? Are you do video? Are you do audio? We use this. I got this off of Amazon. I sit in my office. These lights are from, I think, Canadian Tire. These two. This is an old kitchen chair that has been ripped to fuck by my cats. These are Grant's old gaming
Yeah,
headphones, and
these
it's
are
all
our
my light,
Xbox
my
headphones that we
phone.
used to use. Our
Yeah,
Xbox has
yeah, these
died
are
like
Grant's
a
game.
decade ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then my phone, and then I have my laptop here because my laptop is trash. You'll be able to see that in one episode. I think I'm even dressed like
Seeing the only thing I bought for this,
Ninja Turtle. It's your ring light.
yeah, this
Nice.
little mini ring
Yeah.
light from Amazon that cost me like $12.
Right? So it's like all these people say you need all of these things. Well, again, we're not about perfection, so our audio is not always going to be great, and our video is not always going to be great, but we're going to be real people, and we're going to talk about real
Fuck
shit and make you feel
yeah.
at home. And like any of our guests, they can say it's like coming on and talking to your bitches. Like it's all it is. It's just fun, right?
That's I
And so
think what drew
it's
me
been a
to it in
fucking
the
wild
first
ride.
place was like, and why I don't know, it was just easy to talk to you guys and our friendship blossomed because it is. It's like that's all we consider this.
Yeah.
Like with D and ever, like that's all we ever did. It's just us shooting the
Yeah.
shit, sharing our opinions with each
Yeah.
other. We just so happen to have a
Yeah.
bit of an audience once it gets out there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So you might get in trouble, you might not. We'll see. But yeah, and then it was really we tried to make some money, so we did start a Patreon page, and that is where we found Haley and Danielle. They were on with another girl, one of our like only patrons, which thank you guys. And so that was nice. It helped pay for like an eighth of the podcast,
I
so that
love
was
that.
cool.
We
That
were.
was something,
I love when
and
you'd
it
say
was
that
great.
you're posting stuff for literally me and Danielle, and so just come on the
Yeah.
podcast, okay? Like fuck this shit. Like
Yeah.
just come
I'm
join
like,
us.
Kayla's done with this. Yeah, let's just go on the podcast. You guys are great. And then, yeah, season 4, your first one was about drag and kids.
Yeah, I'm
And
obsessed
it's
with
been a love
that.
affair
That is
ever
so
since.
funny.
Yeah. And you can watch it. You guys can go back to the beginning of time. You can go back to the beginning of our Instagram, and you will watch our grow. You will watch me learn how to edit, how to post, how to speak, how to whatever. And it changes every single time. But the core of it doesn't change.
Yeah.
We want people to feel heard and validated and seen and important and not alone, which they all try to make you feel like, because all celebrities too, like they're fun, but do they all make you feel good about yourselves? Like,
I
no, they
also
don't make me
saw
feel good all the time.
I also saw what the fuck was it? A meme that said people that are obsessed with celebrities are statistically stupider than everyone.
I would say that when
I
I cared about celebrities,
almost
I was definitely
died.
stupider.
I was like, it says
Oh,
like
that's
they're
so great.
statistically like less smart than I was like, I'm just
I
saying.
mean, if you're so busy wrapped up in all of those things, how can you know what else is going on in the
Yeah.
world? And I get it's
I
easier to
think
be like,
that's
oop, I don't want to listen. But as
like
Canadians,
you
I
said
think
with
we've learned
Kayla
that we
too.
can't do that.
Like when everything
Yeah.
started happening, that's where it all like it's not that we were naive to everything before. It's just when you like remove
No.
all the distractions and take back all the lenses and take away
Mhm.
all those rose colored filters, there's a lot. And like some of our past seasons, like we have covered fucking everything. Like
Darkness.
before I got here, you
Literally
guys did a
everything.
lot of mental health. You guys talked about cannabis. You guys talked about exercise. You guys talked about like mandates and everything. And then we have talked about like cults and government
Government
and
operations. Yes.
like we've just hit
Politics
everything,
and
right? Like it's just
conspiracy
I
theories
think that's
and
the fun part is just the
Hollywood.
learning and getting to just yeah. And we do still talk about Hollywood, even though none
Yeah.
of us are really
It's fun.
inserted anymore. It's kind of hard to avoid in some
Yeah.
cases, but we
Yeah.
also see it from different eyes now and different like perspectives. So like it's interesting to see
Makes it
things.
funner.
Going to see movies,
Yeah.
going to see concerts, going to see everything is just like oh. I wouldn't have noticed that before, or like it's weird that they did that. Like I fucking get it now. Like oh my god,
Yes. Yes, it feels so nice. And
I
like you
love it.
said, it feels good to have a place that you can come up and be like, hey, I read this and I thought this is weird. What do you think? And then we can talk about it and not being like, how dare you say that? Like,
Yeah,
oh, there's no way the earth is flat. It's like, okay, if that's your opinion, tell me why you think that. Like, I don't know. I just feel like more information sometimes is great. So I'm always going to be open to hearing
yeah, more.
crazy, outrageous things. And I want to talk about it because
I
I think
also
it's
like that kind of
why
stuff.
else
Like,
am I here?
yeah, I had this book when I
Yeah.
was
And
younger
like
about like aliens and
aliens and
Bigfoot
stuff.
and like
Yeah.
Amelia Earhart's
Mystical
disappearance and like
beings.
the Bermuda Triangle. I was that whole thing about like boys think about like the Roman Empire, blah blah blah. The amount of times when I was younger that I thought about the Bermuda Triangle and like scared of the Bermuda Triangle and like worried about the Bermuda Triangle was unnatural. Like
Yes.
unnatural.
I also was very afraid of quicksand, and I'm not quite sure
Yes!
in my life where I would meet that,
Like
like at
fuck.
all. But it's
Movies,
a
it was
fear that I
horrifying.
continually
I don't
have.
like
Yeah,
it. Yeah, like things like
no.
that. Like I've always been into kind of the weird, strange, mysterious, like
Yeah,
little things. So
and mystical
this
and
okay,
spiritual, and
spaz. This is just more of a it's a grown-up version of it, right? We get to explore all the
yeah.
weirdness.
She's being a psycho.
Just like chill your
Like
beans,
the
dude.
this is why
I
we call
just
her
we're
Bean.
fuck
We're almost done
Mexican
here, dude. I
jumping
guess it's
bean.
time. Lola says it's time to go, Mom. Well,
Yeah, I
guys,
want to
thank
go
you so much
upstairs.
for the 6 seasons that you've been listening. If you've been here from day one, or if you're going back, if you started today, if you've been here for almost 3 years now, thank you guys so much. It means so much,
Yes.
Haley, being my PIC. And for everyone that knows, like Kayla is super busy. She's still a part of it. She's still in the back end. She just doesn't have the capacity at the moment to record, but she's here with us in spirit, and so that's why it's so great. And why we brought Danielle and Hales onto the show originally was to help with that. So I wasn't just like talking to myself, because I don't think you guys just want to listen to me. That's not very fun. And then this season supplementing, because Danielle's, like we mentioned, busy in her life, and so supplement that with Dusty stuff. So it's just really cool because it's again evolving, and it's a
Yeah,
community. Like, yes, I am the host. Yes, I'm the backbone. Sure, I
you
do a
are.
lot of this stuff. But if I didn't have you guys, I wouldn't be here. And I don't, and I hope that I share that gratitude for you guys. As much as possible, because it's true. Like, I needed just one person to stand behind me if someone was gonna fucking yell at me for my opinions. And Kayla's like, I'll fuck any bitch up, and I was like, okay, let's go.
Got the boxing gloves
you
on and
know,
ready.
yeah. And I was like, okay, with Kayla behind me, like this isn't a like no fuck around bitch. Like,
Mm-mm.
I'm not worried about it. Like, she was like a lot like, you guys have met like toned down Kayla. When I first met Kayla, she was like a lot more savage Kayla. And so like she was like, I'll rip anyone's face apart if they come after you. I was like, fantastic. I love
And I'm
this.
done.
So, and we're good
Yeah.
here. Let's go. So it's been incredible. I appreciate everyone that's come on the show. Again, if you're a guest or someone that wants to be on the show again, or for your first time, reach out to us. We absolutely love it. We will fit you in somewhere. I hope you guys have been loving this season. I think we did a really cool job setting this one up
Yeah.
this season. I've had a lot of fun. Doesn't feel like very much because we only do one a week, but with the season that we're in, I think both of us, it's good for the
It's
one a
fun.
week.
Yeah,
But
I like it.
I do miss it. And I'm like, oh, we could get so many more people in and talk to so many more people. And
I
there's so
know.
many more things that we could talk about. And then it's like, we really only have, like, we're halfway through this season. We
But
only
that
have like
also means
14
that you can
episodes
put it
left.
on to next season and extend it and make sure we
Yes.
definitely have more seasons to come. Ouch!
Oh, 100%. It'll never end. Me and you never shut up. I don't ever expect that to happen. Okay, Lola Bean says it's time to go. Guys, thank you so much again. And until next time, bye. Thank you guys for stopping by the show today. We appreciate you so much. If you like this episode and you want to hear more, make sure to show us some love on our Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest page, the Be Real Babe Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube and Rumble channels, like those episodes, and turn on the notification bells. You can find our video version of the show on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify, or you can catch the audio version on Apple and Google Podcast. But stay tuned for more realness coming to you soon. Until next time, babes.